प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. But version on translation and proper by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prakritya, by material nature. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Karmani, activities. Kriyamanani, being performed. Sarvasaha, in all respects. Yaha, anyone who. Pashyati, sees. Tatha, also. Atmanam, himself. Akartaram, the non-doer. Saha, he. Pashyati, sees perfectly. So, by material nature, certainly. Also activities being performed in all respects. Anyone who sees also himself, the non-doer, he sees perfectly. Translation. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Purport. This body is made by material nature, under the direction of the super soul, and whatever activities are going on in respect to one's body are not his doing. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. The self, however, is outside all these bodily activities. This body is given according to one's past desires. To fulfill desires, one is given the body with which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Because of desires, one is put into difficult circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. One who has such a vision is an actual seer. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, what I realized that at this point that spirituality starts from this realization that we are not this body, but spirit soul. This is the spiritual vision. Srila Prabhupada are explaining in the purport that body is a machine which is designed to fulfill desires and thus because of desires, sufferings and enjoyment is there. So to realize this fact, we require practical implementation of the instructions of and philosophy. So this philosophy is there, and we can understand the philosophy. I remember that His Grace Avinash Prabhu said last week that when push come to shove, then it is then there is a real test. How much philosophy we can implement. Yes, we are in this material body, and Srila Prabhupada said one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. According to our past desires and actions, we are in this current position. There is no one to blame. His Grace Amrish Prabhuji said in the Sunday class that we should act intelligently and do not blindly trust anyone, because doubting is the sign of intelligence. Then we do not blame anyone except ourselves. We are responsible for in whatever situation we are in now. The good thing is that by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, we have got this chance to change our situation and the chance to develop this vision to see things as they are. I have realized that it is such a relief and feeling of liberation when we are surrendered and under the shelter of our spiritual master and Krishna. There are chaos happening in this world at the moment. Nowadays, everyone is anxious and uncertainty is causing this because nobody knows what's going to happen. And because we are forced to do and behave under the modes of material nature in this material body. So this is the vision. That's why the word here I stand out is the sapashyati. So he sees perfectly. Srila Prabhupada is saying in the last line that one who has such a vision is an actual seer. So in actually he can see things as they are, because otherwise we are seeing things according to the lens of our own modes. Because in previous verses it was we studied that the mind is a self-centric. So it's always everything revolving around us, but it's not the reality. So that's why this vision is very, very important, the transcendental vision. That's what I realized. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhu, Her Grace Punyapanna Devdasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Sambharam Krishna Prabhu. And thank you, devotees, for your time and association. And thank you, Sanjeev Prabhu, for setting the tone for this class. And yeah, these classes keeps us grounded. And yeah, we come back to basics. So the verse we are studying today is number 30 of chapter 13. Prakrite cha karmani क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकरातरं स पश्यति अकर्तारं स पश्यति. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So Krishna is in this verse is talking, continues to explain Arjuna the constitutional position, and in the Sankhya philosophy, where he's now telling us that how soul and the body is different, particular situation. And the person or the devotee who can understand this, he is the one who can see that all activities performed the body, which is created by material nature, and see the self does nothing, actually sees. He can understand the things. Means again the same basic that we are not this body, we are soul. So if you understand that we are not body, we are soul, then actually we can understand, which is the biggest challenge I'm facing. That I still believe that I'm this body and I'm the doer. Same knowledge, same topic, same point was also discussed or in chapter 3, where Krishna is talking the same thing, almost same thing, but in a different context. That verse is प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकाराभिमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. So I remember this word by this word ahankara vimudhatma. Yeah? That's how I remember this verse. Bewildered by false ego. And kartahamiti manyate, that why this happens. Translation of this verse: the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So Krishna here telling Arjuna that because of material nature, the soul is bewildered. Who can understand the difference, which is talking chapter 13, that who can understand the difference is actually can see, who can actually understand. And another point which I found very interesting, that before this verse, means 13:29, chapter 13, verse 29, where Krishna is talking about super soul, that who can see the super soul. I'll quickly read the translation of that verse just to bring in the context. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. The previous verse, Krishna talks about super soul, now he's talking about soul. So Krishna is basically giving the knowledge. And we are all trying to understand the knowledge. And after understanding, we're trying to apply this knowledge. And that's my problem. That applying this knowledge is really a problem. We thought that we'll do some activity here and there, and we'll become a big devotee. And but the material consciousness doesn't go away. So I'll probably read that purport of that chapter 3, where Krishna is talking about ahankara vimudhatma, that why this happens. And that's a real challenge to understand. I'm talking about myself, that to be able to differentiate. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay, or next time. Or this I cannot do. This is so difficult. No, same question keep coming to our mind, and then we explain our mind. No, mind is our friend and enemy both. So Prabhupada writes here: two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level. Interesting, working on the same level. May appear to be working in the same platform, on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his niche science. This is again in what we are studying, that person who understands is out of this niche science. So again, Prabhupada explained that he does not know that this gross potential body is the creation of material nature under the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as such, his bodily and mental activity should be engaged in service of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. So this is what I'm trying to achieve. And somehow I have realized that after being in Krishna consciousness for some time, I can't say long time, I still feel that, in Hindi we call it kadam tal, no? We are jumping at the same place, and we are thinking that we are moving forward. So we are active, we are getting tired, but we are not moving forward. That's my position. We teach everyone that how to measure your progress in Krishna consciousness, and that you can only measure your progress. And I feel that the progress is measured by detachment, that how detachment actually happens, which is not happening. So that's the question probably I'm going to ask Amrish Prabhu after this class, how to measure one's progress in my situation in Krishna consciousness. And this happens maybe because that our body is changing, we are changing, our social life is changing, everything's changing with the body. No, I've realized this. I've just traveled to India also. Everything is changing, and the taste change and the interest changes. No, we have a different kind of opinion. I feel that you all will agree that we all have changed over a period of time. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that it happens. This is material consciousness, because in material consciousness change happens. And we all are victim of that. That's what I feel, and that's I'm saying. And because of this, we start seeing the world so differently, and you start feeling left out. That yeah, what you are doing, and what it's not about doing activity. It's about how actually be able to engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness when things are changing. Okay, it's yeah, concept wise we can all give a big philosophical answer, but the problem is that when we are going to implement this, and that's I'm talking about again myself, then we have a very common understanding in Hare Krishna weekend that one should ask question. Yeah, we should ask question. I'm going to confess this. I was thinking hard on this, that why I don't ask question. We have grown up in an atmosphere where asking question was was disrespectful. You cannot ask question to your elders. This is how we have grown up, and that's I realized that okay, why don't I ask question? And because you don't ask question, people think that you are egoistic, or you don't understand, or you are not inquisitive, which I feel it is not true. If it was so, then I would not be able to read and listen to Prabhupada. Because if I'm able to, Maharaj would say, it depends on how much time you're spending with Bhagavatam, that shows your bhakti. I don't know what I'm, I guess again maybe sound egoistic, but that's I wanted to share. Hare Krishna weekend is growing. A lot of groups are happening, activities happening. Krishna Prabhu is doing some training. Amrish Prabhu is taking devotees to some yatra, and so a lot of activities have started happening now. And the guru is expanding, and activities are expanding. And I feel that I'm not part of it. It's something, maybe it's my fault, or it's something which happens, or and the problem is not I feel left out. The problem is that how do I contribute to this? How do I actually engage myself in devotional service? And that discussion I think we should have. And it's my fault that I don't ask this question. And the other realization which I have, sorry if I'm looking sounding rude here, the what I have understood when I read these scriptures, that there are repetition of instruction. So same instruction previously Krishna has given, same instruction Krishna is again talking about. But again, I understand with the mercy of Maharaj, and all credit goes to Amrish Prabhu for training us how to read the scriptures. All credit goes to Prabhu. I can vouch for it, that how to read scripture, how to relate the scriptures, how to. But the repetition is the nature of our scriptures. But repetition means uh, it's time, place, and circumstances. The concept remains same, absolute truth remains same, fundamental remains same. But people like me don't understand, and that's why probably repetition is required. The other thing is the probably the last realization is asking question. Parikshit Maharaj was asking question when he knew that he's going to die in 7 days. And he will not eat, he will not do anything, he will not even move around, and he will just ask question. And even those questions does not come to mind at all. And I don't know, means I'm still trying to with maybe he's getting ready, his consciousness means he was a pure devotee, Rajashri, as I have understood from this. And those asking question remains a big challenge. That what is this mean, and what I'm trying to achieve? And in these circumstances where things are changing so rapidly around you, even our group has changed. We have become a different kind of outfit as far as preaching organization is concerned. So that's my challenge. And Amrish Prabhu, you can probably guide me that in this situation, when we means we keep repeating same thing again and again. It becomes a ritual. We are studying scriptures, we are referring Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, but it feels that we are just doing for the sake of doing. That's my realization, and I can be totally wrong, but this is my realization. So it will very I'll be very grateful, Prabhu, if you can talk about this. If not today, maybe some other time. That what should we do to progress in Krishna consciousness when we spend so much time and you are still bewildered that where I'm heading to. That's my relation, Prabhu, for this week. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can hear you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, His Grace Ambrish Prabhuji, Hare Manpage Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu for training us and encouraging us to study these Bhagavad Gita verses and share our realizations. And thank you, His Grace Sanjay Prabhu and Avinash Prabhuji for your nice realizations. प्रकृतैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यन्ति तथात्मानं कर्तारं स पश्यति. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of a material nature, and sees that self does nothing, actually sees. So, Srila Prabhupada has given a very nice purport on this. So here, as this is the actually continuation from the last verse, as we discussed last week. So the first thing actually, when I read, the first thing that actually came to my mind while actually preparing for this verse is that actually when he says that actually everything that is all the activities that are being conducted by us is actually it's a body that is actually performing all those activities, and the soul has nothing to do with it. But practically, actually, when I thought that, do I actually see that way? So yeah, answer is actually no. Actually, I do not feel that actually, my soul is different than a body. So pretty much on a bodily platform. So as Avinash Prabhu also says that this is very basic, philosophy. We always hear and teach others as well that we're not this body, we're spirit soul. So I was meditating on this point, and actually, this actually knowledge actually given here, and this is not new. Actually, this is the first thing probably we teach. Whenever people join this movement, that you are not this body. You are spirit soul. However, actually, as we say that to put that in practice, in a practical implementation, is very tough. I'm on the same board. As Avinash Prabhu also said, that actually to realize this practically and sees that the body is completely different than the soul, that realization is still not coming. And Srila Prabhupada also says similar thing, is jnana vijnana. So jnana is the information. Yes, we hear the information, we know. But unless that is practically implemented and realized, it does not become vijnana. It's a practical scientific implementation. So I was thinking, how to actually means understand this. So just looking into this, like I try to understand that actually this body that we got, we born in this material world with this material body. So as this actually verse is saying, Srila Prabhupada, in purport clearly mentions that this body is the result of our past desires. So actually, Krishna is actually giving this body, which is pretty much a machine, it's a material machine made of this actually 24 different elements, starting with the Panch Mahabhutas and so on. So we understand that actually this, how this has been actually manufactured or, and how actually this is acting. So under the three modes of material nature. So we're under the influence of the modes, and that's how actually the functioning starts. But the soul actually, which is said that actually soul has nothing to do with the actually bodily activities. This is what actually I'm trying to actually understand, how that is. Because one thing I actually understood is that because maybe I do not had this knowledge in the past, and I always thought I'm this body, or even I know this information that there is a Atma. However, actually, our extreme attachment to this body, we think that actually even the soul, maybe under the influence that we think like that we are this body, and that's why we actually most of the time we suffer when there is actually body and pain and pleasure. We experience that. But soul is not actually, experiencing any of that according to this theory. So, as it is mentioned that the person who understand this actually knowledge, in a practical sense. So, just actually thinking about actually what we discussed in the previous verses, there was reference, actually the one who is in knowledge and the pandit, he actually sees everyone on the same level. He's actually seeing the soul within the body. So this is actually Brahma Bhuta stage, the Paramhamsas who has actually reached that stage, who can able to see, they can look into every living entity, regardless of the species or bodily discriminations and all that. But they can see the soul, and they can probably realize that accordingly. But for me, actually, even actually, I attempt to actually think like that is a bit difficult, because as soon as the person comes in front of me, we discriminate, the whatever actually information we have or whatever we see. So the external actually, information that we get, we immediately start discriminating, so even we have this information, is very hard to practically implement, even if we actually try to do it, uh, uh, knowingly. So yes, actually, I had similar, actually probably realization what Avinash Prabhu shared, how to understand this actually, how to practically implement this, because unless we realize this or practically implement this knowledge that I'm actually not this actually body, and actually I'm a spirit soul. So Srila Prabhupada also actually gave one lecture where he spoke about purification of a desires, So yeah, everyone has a desires, and as Guru Maharaj also had this melo where Guru Maharaj says that actually that every desire that we have in our heart, there is a next body ready for us, So we have to be very careful what we desire. So the purification of desire is very, very important, So unless we purify our desires, yeah, we'll always be on that actually contaminated platform, So the purification of desires, then that will reflect in our actions. As the desires purify, probably we'll act according to that, and probably we'll get to the stage that we actually become detached from the material things, and probably actually started to realize what it actually means. That actually I am actually the soul, not this body. So yes, Prabhuji. So this is actually what I actually realized. Just meditating on this instruction, that yes, actually, yes, we know we have this information, but practically implementing is, I'm finding it very hard as well. Even actually, we have been studying this subject matters for many years. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhuji, Her Grace Pragya Devi Das Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhuji for giving us the platform where we can share our realizations and learn how to share our realizations. So we are doing, today we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, verse number 13. प्रकृत्यव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानं कर्तारं स पश्यति. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So, as for, thank you all the devotees who have shared their realizations. And I have also realized the same thing that it is very difficult. Although we know that we are not this body and we are the soul, and in chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Bhumi Rapo Anilo Vayu Skham Mano Buddhi Revacha Ahankaram Ahankara Itiyam Me Bhinna Prakriti Ashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together these 8 constitute my separated material energies. And these are the inferior energy of Krishna, from which the body is constituted. And then there is, in the next verse, Krishna says that there is this superior energy. And besides this, these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. And this superior energy is the living entity actually. And without that soul, the body cannot function at all, because material can't move without the energy of the soul. So we know that whatever is being done is being done by this body. And from time immemorial, the sanchita karma or the accumulated karmas force us to take another body. But just saying that everything is done by the body only, some people can say that whatever bad is happening in the world, actually they are not responsible for doing that is the body doing. We can see that in every religion, some of the so-called spiritual people, they do very bad things, and then they just get away with saying something which is people can't understand that, oh, he's saying that means it must be right. So they can't get away from that, saying that this is done by the body, not the they don't want to take the responsibility, which is not correct. But how can we come we just burn all those karmas, the reactions of those karmas, good or bad, is that when if we, by the mercy of a Vaishnava, one comes under the shelter of him, and then one can come out of the cycle of birth and death, because he is the one who gives the knowledge that how because before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had, like Shital Prabhu shared, that about we knew the Atma word, but what is the real um, position of Atma, and what is the real position of body, and what is the relationship between these two? I had no idea. But when I came to Krishna consciousness, actually, principally, I understood what it is. Philosophy is there, and even now, it's difficult to separate myself as body. Body is separate and soul is separate. It's because still I feel that I'm the body. Not that consciousness has not come yet to the Brahman level. But at least we know the differentiation now. So just how to come out of it, and then Krishna gives the solution for that as well. That man manabha madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru imam avashyasi yuktavayam atmanam matparayana, and that do everything for Krishna, and then you can come to Krishna. You can go to Krishna. But philosophically, we understand that. I mean, I understand that, but practically implementing this verse is I'm finding it very difficult. When we are in association of the devotees, it feels very nice and it feels very much achievable. But as soon as that association is not there, it feels very difficult. And I don't know how will I go forward and achieve that goal. So that is difficult for me. But yeah, I'm trying hard, but I fail all the time. Just beg for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So yes, Prabhuji, that's my realization for this verse. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for all the wonderful realizations. I was actually, like last week, not going to speak, because philosophically, all of you are very sound, from different angles, you cover the points. But because these questions are raised, so there's an impetus for me to think a bit more. So thank you very much for raising these questions. These are questions which I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. But I know one thing. The process for achieving this, that much I can tell you. So we are all in the process of it. And as I've always said, that we should not be foolhardy to say that there's a magic potion, very acceptable thing, and we say, yes, and I've achieved it. No, we have to, as they say in English language, 2 minutes to learn and lifetime to implement. Yeah, something like this. Anybody knows this saying?
No, bro, I have not heard this.
You
But
know?
makes sense, bro.
Yeah. So I was listening to one Christian, a very secluded, aloof and misunderstood Christian sect, and people have different views about him, not very good views. So I was listening to them because it's my habit to understand, and very close philosophically to what we have, not very different. And this is the point they were raising. And same thing, that one of the points they understand is this: everything that's happening to me, I should not blame anybody else. It's because of me. It's very close to us to say it's karmic reaction. But they don't accept karma, they have it in a different way. Okay? So this is where they say, I know this concept, it is very famous. It says that 2 minutes to learn, but lifetime to implement. So let us see this verse, translation and purport. I'll try my level best by Srila Gurudev's exit. Srila Gurudev's exit for this mercy. प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. Prakriti, material nature, cha, certainly, prakriti eva, certainly, cha, also, karmani, activities, material nature, certainly, also activities, kriyamanani, engaged in performing, sarvashaha, in all respects, engaged in performing in all respects, material nature, also activities. So material nature causes activities, which makes engagement to perform them in all respects. Yaha pashyati tathatmanam. Yaha, anyone who pashyati, sees, tatha also atmanam, means himself. Akartaram sa pashyati, akartaram, non-doer. Saha, he, pashyati, sees perfectly. So in this word-to-word synonyms, if we go a little deeply, we see that we can understand this, that material activities, material nature creates activities. And the body is engaged in performing these activities in all respects. One who sees this himself, and he sees himself as a non-doer, sees perfectly. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is answering question of Arjuna. Arjuna is not a Pandit. Arjuna is not a Brahman. The basic concept of Bhagavad Gita is this, that Krishna chose Arjuna to speak because Arjuna was a worldly person. He was a warrior. He knew how to fight and kill people, which none of us can do. So Arjuna had to prepare himself from childhood to kill people, rule people, see the manipulation of politics as a king. So that is the reason why when Krishna is answering question for Arjuna, he is giving a very practical answer. This is the fundamental point to understand when we study Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna's answers are very, very practical. And Srila Prabhupada are given full credit because Maharshi Goswami Maharaj says, Maharaj's quote is there, that because Prabhupada has given practically how to understand and lead life, he has digested and given practical solutions of scriptures. That is why it's glorified. So Krishna's answers are very practical, but for our understanding, Prabhupada has made it more practical. So we should understand this practical aspect of things. Now let us see what Krishna is saying practically and how Srila Prabhupada are translating practically. So this is what our questions are. How do we practically implement in our lives? I said, I'll try my level best. I'm a student. I'm not a master. So let us all be students here together. Now, one who sees that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. The small purport, other the purport also. This body is made of material nature under the direction of the super soul. And whatever activities are going on in respect to one's body are not his doing. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. The self, however, is outside all these bodily activities. This body is given according to one's past desires. To fulfill desires, one is given the body with which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, here it is. Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Because of desires, one is put into different circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. One who has such a vision is an actual seer. Okay, first off. Now, this answer is absolutely practical because this answer is an answer for somebody who has been striving to find this answer. So I have firmly believe, I've mentioned this also in my classes before, that if we have not been inquisitive, and in our inquisitiveness we have not become Krishna conscious, then for us this is spoon feeding given to us and we will not realize this. But if we have been searching for this knowledge, why life, what is this, and every stone if you're putting unturned, every stone unturned, not just sitting and thinking and forgetting about it. I'm talking about removing the stone. What is inside here? Let me see. This philosophy, that philosophy, deeply understanding, asking questions, finding out this, and we're not able to understand. And then when we come to Prabhupada's books and Bhagavad Gita, we say, this is it. And if we have not done this, then we have to start back that process from whenever we began. But if we came to this point, from that point, then it becomes, wow, answers the question. There was a lot of blanks for me. A blank, B blank, C blank, oh, fill. This blank, fill. This blank, fill. That's how many devotees whom I know, they said, I had not even read Prabhupada's full Bhagavad Gita. 1, 2 chapters and I was convinced this is it. Because all my answers, all my questions, everything that I had, and I listened to and I studied big philosophers and philosophy and religion, who could not answer the question? Here I got answers. Now stay with me, let us understand this now. Translation. One who sees that all activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So we all have understood that the body is different from the soul. Okay, this is the basic understanding. Great. Now, what does it mean? We will say, okay, it means that the body, what does it mean? Have we thought like this, that the body can get criminalized, but the soul does not? The body can do criminal activity, but the soul doesn't do it. That doesn't mean it's an excuse, as Mataji would say, that people do wrong things. My body is, I'm not doing it. No. You go to jail for it. And you'll suffer for your reaction also in the spiritual. So it's not that the Yamaraj will say, okay, you'll spend lifetime in the jail. So now, ye maaf kar diya humne aapko. ऐसा नहीं होता. We all have got our own past karmas, because of which we have got our different bodies, our different thinking. Some of us are very deep thinkers. Some of us are not deep thinkers. Some say, ठीक है मुझे पैसा दिखाओ, बड़ा दिमाग चलता है. Others will say, okay, fine, let me understand this for this, that. We spent days understanding these things, if not years, if not months. So, wisdom meaning, as we discussed in the past many times, practical implementation of knowledge. Otherwise, it is information. And the frustration that we have is that I want knowledge. Oh, so you hear somebody, कितना अच्छा knowledge दिया. Right, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ा आपको? That's why I was, when I heard amongst ourselves say, good knowledge, given knowledge, I said, stop this information. Information is not information. Implementation of knowledge is more important than anything else. Because knowledge can anybody can give. ChatGPT will give us knowledge. Not a big deal. So we have to be very deep thinkers for this. So that means that the soul of an ant is equally as important as the soul of ours. In the eyes of Krishna, because Krishna is in the body of the ant also with us. This philosophy we understand. But as Prabhupada would say that the soul has, this particular jiva has unknowingly, unnecessarily done wrong activities. But we're helplessly being done. Here it is said. So the question should be raised. So what happens? The soul doesn't do any activities? How does one soul get karma? So if we say here that the body does activities, the soul does not do, then what does the soul do? I'm sure some of you must have thought about this. Can you please answer this question?
Soul has forgotten its constitutional position, and that's why soul has got a body. So soul is actually, we have studied that, very active. Yeah, very active. So because of this, that we are struggling here in material world, that's why soul, but soul has got to serve Krishna. That's the nature. Samaya Punsa Padharmo. Same thing. That's what I understand.
Yes, the soul's purpose we understand. What does the soul is supposed to do? Serve Krishna, correct? But here Krishna is saying that one who sees that all activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, famous of material nature. We understand this much. And see that the self does nothing, actually sees. So self does nothing, the soul does nothing. What you said, Prabhuji, correctly is that the soul's purpose of existence is to serve Krishna. But here's a body. When the soul is in the body, material world, he does nothing. Soul does nothing. So what does the soul do then? This was the very first question. One of the very first questions I had asked all those years ago when I was asking everybody, tell me what is the meaning? What does soul does nothing? What do you mean by this? What do you mean soul does nothing? So you tell me, now soul does nothing. So then how does the body work? Because body does action, soul doesn't do action. But then the soul gets another body next body. Is it not so? Based upon this body's action. Did I explain this question clearly to all of you? Was I clear in explaining this question?
What I understand, Prabhu, with my little understanding, that because of soul, this body is functioning. And soul is providing all the energy, all the thing, the consciousness and everything. Otherwise, this body will become useless. So that's what I understand. That's what soul does.
Yes. So what you're saying, that is correct. What I said is this, that the soul gives energy to the body, correct? It works. It's consciousness to the body. The difference between a dead body and a living body is a spirit soul. Yeah, we understand this concept, correct? So this is what it is here. When Krishna is saying that whatever actions the body is performing, the soul has no part in it. So the question should be raised, if soul has got no part in it, then why is the soul suffering in the body, getting the next body?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Abuji, please continue.
Prabhuji, my understanding, Prabhuji, when I read that actually soul does nothing, it sounded, even a bit weird to me. But actually, because actually the first time the soul gets the actually material body because he desired to lord it over, isn't it? Because he wanted to enjoy like a god. So desiring maybe one of his function because he desired. That's why actually he fall down to the material world. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's true. But we have given that answer also. It fall under the material world desire. What body will he get? First body.
Because he desired to actually enjoy like Krishna, he get a body
So
like a Krishna.
he should get which body? Krishna's body.
No, he should be like Krishna like a body, but made up of material elements.
So which body is it then?
A
So you
human
thought
body.
about this? One minute. You thought about this, you're thinking with me now.
No, I thought about that part that actually soul desire. That's why he actually
I understand that point. I understood that point. But I'm saying that what body was needed for that? That did you think before?
maybe in not direction, but I thought about this like Guru Maharaj just says that as per one's desire, you'll get that type of body.
Yeah, but then once we were with Krishna and we fell down, what desire we had to fall down? What body we got?
Or
That is
my
the question.
understanding, Prabhuji, I thought about this first time. I think he always get the human body first,
No, no. If we had thought about this, this is what I want you to think to answer the questions. These are the
No.
thinking process I'm trying to say. That's why I started my question to say I don't have answers, but I've got a thinking process. So the answer is this, that but the soul, the first body which we get is that of Brahma's body.
Hmm.
Topmost body in the material world. And then comes down. This makes sense then. Lording of material nature, like Krishna's body in the material world is highest is Brahma. This is how we should be very deep thinkers. We cannot be superficial thinkers. हाँ थोड़ा अधिका फिर शॉर्ट सर्किट हो गया तो नीचे मैं जाऊँ. Then we have to stay back. Philosophers, they make points, they note the points, and they come back again after 2 hours, 1 hour. So this is the meaning of it, that the soul is not, the body will keep changing, the soul will not change. So how long will the soul keep changing, man? As the body keeps changing for the soul, how long will the soul be trapped in the material world? Once you understand this point, it is just simple words to say now. But to think like this, that okay, first we were with Krishna and we fell down from Krishna, so what body we would have got? Answer is there in the scriptures, Brahma's body. We will discuss this point in our lectures also. And then we came down from there, above and beneath, depending upon that. That's why in some places we have seen that Brahma was attracted by his daughter. And he left the body. Immediately left the body. You saw abominable. So this is the meaning behind this, that the body acts and reacts, gets another body. The soul is just a vehicle inside the body which gives the power to the body. Now, once you understand this, then we say, then I need to do something more if I'm doing like this. I don't like to have this body. These are fundamental questions which should be asked before we came to Krishna consciousness, or when we came to Krishna consciousness. So what does it mean? I was given answers by big sannyasis to say that it is just like you're watching a movie. I asked this question, so many people. I remember some big sannyasis told me this. It's like watching a movie. Movie's going on, you're sitting there in the theater. You think you are associating with the movie, but you are not. Yeah, it gave me some answers, but it was not fulfilling because I had to search out myself. Nobody can pull my hand. They will give me a direction to this. So tell me, how are we going to then discuss about Krishna Katha? When we discussed last week that Krishna worshipped Sudama, correct? We just worship his feet. But Krishna chose Arjuna to give Bhagavad Gita. Has Krishna worshipped Arjuna's feet? And he sprinkled the water on his head. But here Krishna is close to Arjuna. He slept in the same bed, which is not possible there. You understand these points? These are we have to be deep thinkers, as I said. We have to be very inquisitive, ultra deep thinkers. Now let us come to the purport part. So this point is that the soul is not damaged, soul is not colored by the body's actions. So what does it do? He just gives power. So how long will he keep giving power? Do you want to give do we want to give the power to get next body with us or to the material nature? Krishna is saying the material nature helpless, rather than the body helplessly acts on this. We said, no, I want to stop it. So good. Krishna is saying, exactly, you must stop it. So what to do? They said, become my devotee. What does it mean to become your devotee? That is the purpose of the soul. Okay, wow, right. So what does it mean? Do I have to go with 1,000 people to jump up and down, become your devotee? Well, if it helps you, why not? Otherwise, sit in one place and think about these things. That's why I always say this. Sudama did not have 1,000 people doing Sankirtan for him. His age is different when he requires support. But he was alone in a hut. Sudama, because we are discussion, I'm giving you an example. Alone, everybody would have rejected him. The poor man, nobody likes him. Let's come to the purport here. This body is made of material nature under the direction of the super soul. What does it mean? How many of you thought about this one sentence? Half a sentence, not a full sentence. The body is made of by material nature under the direction of super soul. All this while we are discussing that it's under the direction of the soul, it works on its own. No, here is a clue. Because with the soul, there is super soul. Super soul is a witness. What does it do? It is a witness? Yes. And what does witness do? Based upon our action, gives the next body. Right. And whatever activities are going on in respect of one's body are not his doing. So the body is given a material nature under the direction of the super soul, and whatever activities are going on in this body is not done by the soul. So soul is not doing the actions. The body which we are getting is based upon the reactions that we are getting of the body, based upon our desires, with the super soul is witnessing. So that means that whatever desires we have got, we cannot hide from anybody. This is the meaning of it. Because super soul immediately knows. You want this? You cannot say, we can cheat the whole world. I can cheat by saying big bhashan I can give. But inside my heart, if I'm not clean, super soul knows my next body is made. This is the meaning of this one sentence. How beautiful, such deep philosophy is given in one sentence. Let's go further. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. What does it mean? Second big punch. It means this, that the soul was doing nothing. He has done nothing, but is forced to get the body based upon material nature's action and reactions, bodily activities. So that means, are we going to be just like this? I can think somewhere, then I get disfocused, then I forget about it, then I got material things I'm worried about. Of course, you have to worry about material things. Everybody has to worry about material things. But that is not all in all. Opportunities have to be seen in spiritual activities, these things, not material things. These sentences are the ones that are very practically given to answer our questions. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. What you enjoy in your body, I may not enjoy in my body. Is it not so? What I like, you may not like. What you like, I may not like. This is our adhikar. The self, however, is outside of all these bodily activities. This body is given according to one's past desires. You understand this? To fulfill desires, one is given the body with which he acts accordingly. Full stop. So what does it mean? That means if I have any other desire will super soul is going to look at it, immediately understands, and going to give me next body. So how much we have to be so paka in our lives, in our thinking, knowing that super soul is hidden in my heart. Guru Maharaj had said this to Devkinandu, that listen, remember this, after my death, you will act as if I am standing next to you. So whenever I do something wrong, I feel Maharaj standing next to me. Of course, Maharaj standing next to me. Why? Because super soul. Maharaj is merged with the super soul. Knows everything. We cannot hide from the super soul. And remember, we had a discussion about this to say one guru said that you find a place, you kill a bird where nobody sees you, nobody witnesses you. So everybody went and killed something and brought it. Nobody witnessed. This one boy said, he did not go anywhere. So Guru asked, why did you not go? He said, where will I go? Everywhere there's a witness. And if nobody is there, super soul is in my heart to see the witness. How can I kill? So Guru said, very good. I'll give you knowledge. So this is a basic knowledge of it. Remember this point? We had discussion in the past about this. Let's move on. So body is given according to one's past desires. To fulfill the desire, one is given the body with which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, now Prabhupada is talking, practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord. Who Supreme Lord? Super Soul. Designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Same what was mentioned in the first line, Prabhupada mentioning here. This is how scrutinizing we must study. Otherwise, every word is the same. Every purport is the same. Every translation is the same. We have to study it very, very inquisitively. Then we understand, no. It's not the same. It's too deep, man. This is so deep. See here, practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Exactly the same first sentence. The body is made of material nature under the direction of the super soul. And whatever activities are going on in respect of one's body are not his doing. Same thing here, spoken in a different way. Because of desires, one is put into different circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. At this point in time, when we see that my desires are giving me different bodies, so I must purify my desires. Same philosophy we understand. We understood the philosophy to say we must purify our desires, purification is needed. Now we understand why. Because we're going to get next body. Any desire we have got to enjoy or suffer. Next body. Who's going to solve this? You are going to solve this. I'm going to solve for myself. You're going to solve for yourself. Stop the desires. How to stop desires? I cannot stop my desires. Correct. So our Vaishnava philosophy is satisfy Krishna's desires. That is the meaning of personalism and impersonalism. One who has such vision is an actual seer. This is where all our philosophy comes into place. All jigsaw puzzle comes into place. There is the meaning of personalism. So that means any desire I've got, I cannot hide from super soul. Correct. So mar gaye. Khatam, beda gard ho gaya. I want to eat gulab jamun. I must solve my desire gulab jamun all the time. Doesn't matter. So Krishna, you can do it. Any other desires we have got, He will give us. It is noted by Krishna. As the Guru Maharaj says, for every desire we have got, next body is ready. This is the meaning of it. But the deeper meaning is this, that my God, super soul knows my desires. But so far we are thinking, kaun janta hai? I want to sleep, nobody worries about it. Even if we are very, very sincere, very, very honest, we still know our desires are with us. Others do not know this. So seeing the body different from the soul is not just about some philosophical, very big, this particular aspect. That means as a soul, I have nowhere to hide in the material world. So what happens in the spiritual world then? There's another question. In the spiritual world, there's no material body. Correct. Why? Because the soul is sufficiently purified to serve Krishna. Only business serving Krishna. Right. That means in this body I've got, I have to make sure that I serve Krishna. This should be the only desire of the soul. Because super soul is a witness. If not, my next body is ready. This is the practical aspect of this verse. This is what I understood. More than this, I'm still struggling. I'm struggling with the implementation of this. But I hope and pray that if you're thought like this, it's wonderful. This is for my purification. If you're not thought like this, then it will give you some direction to think, which is again for my purification. Give me the opportunity to say this, to share my realization. But this is where, practically speaking, we have to spend hours, days, months on this aspect. How do I purify my desires? How do I purify my desires? And every stage, make a note. The desire I've got, oh, damn, look at my desire. See this? I must change this. और ये है कि एक बार desire आता है, दुआ आता है, ऐसा नहीं कि then you got next body is made immediately. No, if you dwell on the desire, if you act on it, if you purified, it is gone, finished. So we have to be introspective sage. We have discussed this point. Introspective sage is, I've mentioned this point in the past. Discussion. Everybody remembers this? Anybody? Introspectively intelligent.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
This is the meaning of it, what I was saying all this while. We cannot be superficial thinkers. That is the reason why we say you must be preaching. Why? Because in preaching, all kinds of questions are asked. So when we say do preaching, it is not to help others. When I requested all of you to preach, it's to help you. Because you have to ask these questions to yourself. And when Guru, why I did this to you? Because Guru Maharaj did the same thing to me. Ambarish, why are you preaching? To help yourself, not to help others. This is the meaning of it, practically speaking. Now it is the opening part. This is the reason why we say we are preaching. And our preaching helps others, supports others, makes us humble enough. We'll tolerate so many things. If you sit quietly, Bhajananandi, read all these things, implement in your life, no disturbance at all. You can go in any crowd and still be aloof, have your sankirtan, have prasad, and come back home. When you're preaching, then you think about this devotee will think like this. This we will protect this person from that person. We must protect these people from this. All these things, modes will come into play. The preaching is very difficult. Bhajan, after a certain time, we should become Bhajanandis. I've said this, very recently I'm saying this. It's my realization. But still, most expert teachers are those who can work both, the Bhajanandi and Goshti Anandis too. This is the reason why we have to preach. What is the hope for others? What is the hope for us? So please, this one verse, if this verse has asked you this question to say, tell me the answer, give me the question, I'm going to ask this question practically. Here are the practical points. Please study them. If you studied very well, if you not studied this way, please get these pointers. And tell me also if I missed on some points. No? This is the meaning. आज जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, sorry, आज नहीं कर रहे हैं, अभी जो हम करेंगे इसके बाद, where if you also study the same verse, and you say, Prabhuji, you missed that point here. I was thinking of this angle about this. Yes, thank you very much. This is called Ishtagosti. This is the purpose of our Bhagavad Gita discussion. Otherwise, what we do is we read the purport, you speak our realization, and we close the chapter. We are back on the mobile phone answering some of the points. I do not know. Doing something else, very busy. It loses taste. This gives taste to say, yes, I want to know. The want to is very important. Have to is not important. So from have to, we should become want to. And there is no excuse. See, we may not be a very deep thinker, intelligent thinker. That's fine. But we can think, no? Then think. I'm a very poor thinker. I'm an extremely poor reader. Believe me, I have to make notes, points, I have to write down points. So difficult. Whereas compared to me, so many of other devotees is they read once, twice, they understand everything. They get deep philosophy. For me, I have to make every point. Note it. मुझे एक वर्स के साथ एक परपट करने को कितना समय लगता है तो मैं पढ़ता हूँ उसको कॉपी करता हूँ पॉइंट्स बनाता हूँ दैट्स व्हाई आई मेक दोस पॉइंट्स फॉर माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग कौन बनाएगा ऐसे पॉइंट्स बेवकूफ आदमी बनाएगा ना जिसको अक्ल नहीं होती उसको logically he wants to understand things so this is what I understand from this particular did I explain my points clearly please
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
but important does it answer your question in some way not the whole way but some way at least
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, you have gone to very basic thing. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. It's a good reminder.
I think it was not a reminder. I believe personally to me, this was bombarding. मेरे लिए देखो see the difference between you and me. मेरा knowledge इतना poor है कि when I saw and I read this, I was like, wow, man, the super soul is doing this. So मुझे छुपने का रास्ता ही नहीं है कहीं पर. तो not to think that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. ये यहाँ से शुरू होता है. Because मैं पकड़ा जाऊंगा यहाँ से. चौकीदार जैसा वो खड़ा है वहां पर. और चौकीदार नहीं है वो. I just so love him. All puts into place. This is the meaning of it. So मेरे लिए तो ये बड़े बहुत deep philosophy थी भाई. But anyway, if it is supporting you, thank you very much. But please study, and if you think that okay, you can give more info, please bring it next week and say, Prabhuji, I think this angle is better. No, not better. This angle also is good angle to see on this part of it, and we can have discussion. Ishtagosti. It'll be so good. Man. Just this aspect that the another's body gets spiritual. ये पूरा purport ही उन्होंने लिखा है Prabhupada. What about the others, please? We all have the same question. After you, they all say the same thing. So the questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving the pointers. Yes, Prabhuji, I'll think about it, and
This is for my benefit.
if any questions, I will ask questions
It
from
is to the
next
group,
week.
not to me. I'm also thinking. These are my thinking. कहाँ बचूं मैं? कहाँ जाऊं यहाँ से?
But this is the meaning, Prabhuji, that you showed that how we implement practically. Because I also thought about it like, okay, we are not spirit soul. we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and I see all other bodies, how I develop that vision that they're all souls and
So tell
not.
me, how will you develop a vision? After listening to this, how will you develop a vision? Tell me, what is the answer?
Yes, Prabhuji, as you explained that the super soul is doing like
Yes,
we
yes,
can't
yes,
escape from super soul
yes,
because
yes.
he's
So
witnessing.
how will you see others as spirit souls?
The point that I realized, Prabhuji, that the new point that I found out today that you explained, that super soul does nothing, but the bodies, everyone got different bodies because of their desires, what they desired previously. I desired previously, so I got this body, so they act accordingly. So somebody behaving badly or somebody behaving nicely, so it's according to the body, Prabhuji. So
Yeah, how will you
spirit soul
see somebody
not doing
spirit soul?
anything.
Yes, yes, tell me. Yeah, spirit soul not doing anything. Yes, how will you see? How will you see spirit soul in everybody? That is our main point, right? We see ourselves. How will you see ourselves? How will you do it?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's what I was thinking. Like, how should I do it?
Yeah, because we are struggling in this. Everybody is struggling in this. At least I know that I'm struggling. They don't know they're struggling. We are too busy to solve our own problem. That if I cannot hide from the super soul, let me purify myself. Once we get into that thinking, and we
Mm,
are too busy doing that, then the vision will come. The other person is struggling, man. This jiva is struggling. He's got another body, not a human being body. If I don't do this, I'll get a human. I'll get non-human body again.
mm.
These are the meanings behind it, and that is the meaning of Pandita Samadarshina. Elephant body he's got. He did an action in a particular way. Chandal
Yeah,
body he's got an action in a particular way.
Brahmana. Yes,
Yeah,
this.
Brahman in a particular way. But we our business is we must accept the super soul in our heart, who's a witness. We are not accepting that. That is a problem. Yeah, and we cannot be desireless. So desire is for Krishna. That is also the Krishna consciousness. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. It's another point that you pointed that okay, we are in this process. Okay, it's lifetime process, but sometimes that's become excuse as well. Okay, we are in this process. All right, we'll do some having some desires, but then we take this excuse, or I myself I'm talking about. Okay, we are in the process, so we fall down or we desired it. But when we come to the philosophy and we read Bhagavad Gita and when we Srila Prabhupada's purport, then we come back to our senses. Okay, yes, it's not, we shouldn't be doing that. It's sort of happening like up and down, like this probably.
We require more deep thinking, Prabhuji.
Mm,
We require more deep thinking. There is no excuse behind it. We still cannot remain on superficial level.
mm.
If we are too careless not to accept super soul in our heart, who is a witness to see things. And he's the one giving us the body.
Mm.
Anyway, so
Thank
that's
you,
your
Prabhuji.
others. Well, thanks to all of you for asking the question. It is for my benefit. So I was not going to answer it. I said I was not going to say anything because philosophy is very good. So this is my process. I'll share my process. Yeah. Anybody else wants to say anything, please? It's too late now. So please.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining this, very systematically. So I agree, Prabhuji, means all the point, spoken, philosophically, we've been known, actually we have heard this. But yes, I think I realize that, I lack deep thinking, because even I struggle this point, means just a practical example for me, that I struggle really hard, that we know that actually, all the living entities, even insects, they have the soul. So I realize that, and actually it's always a struggle, whenever we actually, means always dealing with, actually whenever we pick up the flowers, they're insect, even minute, so it's a very dilemma for me, how not to kill it. Even offering to Krishna is a big issue, because all the very minute insect cannot be removed. So even actually, sometimes we have to do the pest control. Means it's always a struggle. So I think it's like I don't know, maybe I choose a convenience or actually, try to find a solution about it. So yeah, I found it very, very hard to actually, implement. But it's not that I don't realize that there's no spirit soul. I very much realize, even I get angry with somebody, that actually probably I just shut down because of my own ego. I do not think at that point. But even later I realized, then yes, actually, I did the wrong thing. But maybe I don't know, Prabhuji. I need to think deep, understand. I mean, you're right, actually. Introspective thinking has to be done on each and every point. But I thought about this point, especially, actually dealing with all the living entities around, and with all our activities we're killing, and this always bothers me, actually, whenever actually insect get killed and all that. I do not see any easy way out of this. So yes, Prabhuji, I'm struggling. Probably, yeah. I have to think more and more before I realize, how to realize this. Because I do not think that I give the same value to the lives of the insect as I do to the human or myself. Because sometimes insect just died, we chant Hare Krishna and we apologize and we move on. I do not lament for hours and hours. So I don't know how to understand all these points, actually practically.
Okay. So we conclude today's discussion then. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai.
Jai,
Granthsat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri
Jai,
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.
Jai,
Srila
Jai.
Gurudev ki jai.
Okay.
Jai.
Word to word synonyms. Translations and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
If you reply God Chandra Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari
Hare
Bol.
Thank you, devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.